Before anyone dialed 911, there was another phone call. Not to a hospital, not to police, to his mother. On a stretch of Alabama highway between Auburn and Montgomery, a car sat parked near a gas station. Inside it was a 21-year-old woman with a gunshot wound, and the man she had been with for 2 years. He called his mother first. That single choice, made in the middle of a crisis, is where investigators say this story really begins. Not with the sound of a gunshot, but with what a person decides to do in the minutes after one. This is what happened to Gennia Grimes, the young woman fans online knew as Purple Doll. Before we begin, if you enjoy well-researched true crime cases that go beyond the headlines and uncover the real stories behind each case, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like, share, comment, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new investigation.
Southwest Atlanta family is devastated by the death of their daughter, and now the Montgomery County, Alabama Sheriff's Office has launched an investigation into the death of Alabama State University student Gennia Grimes.
Grimes was a proud member of the Alabama State University Honeybees dance team. Fox 5's Angelique Proctor joins us from Mays High School in Southwest Atlanta, which is where Gennia graduated from. Angelique?
Yeah, good afternoon to you both. Everybody who knew Gennia Grimes described her as a superstar. She was an extraordinary dancer who was even featured on Access Hollywood for her moves. But tonight, following her shooting death, her family tells me they are just consumed with grief.
Online, she was color and motion. Offline, she was a junior at Alabama State University, working toward a criminal justice degree with plans of becoming a lawyer. Her dance team, the Honeybees, had built a following far beyond campus. Videos of Gennia performing had traveled well past Alabama, past Georgia, out into the kind of internet fame that made strangers feel like they knew her. People online called her Purple Doll, a nickname that stuck because it fit her. Bright, deliberate, unmistakable in a crowd. At home, she was someone's daughter, someone's granddaughter, and a mother herself. She and her boyfriend, Rogers McLeod Jr., had a son together, just 9 months old, but according to her family, something had shifted in the relationship. Her mother, Angela, later said Gennia had confided that she planned to leave him. Weeks before the shooting, an argument reportedly turned physical enough that McLeod broke her phone, her tablet, and tried to break her television. None of that made it into any news story before March came. On March 27, 2025, Gennia and McLeod were driving back from Auburn toward Montgomery. She had class waiting for her on campus. Somewhere along that route, in Macon County, prosecutors allege McLeod shot her. The car did not stop there. It kept moving, crossing into Pike Road, before pulling into a gas station just off Interstate 85, along Highway 80 East, in a community called Waugh. That is where deputies from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office found her. Medics worked on Gennia at the scene before airlifting her to a hospital in critical condition. She held on for a short time. Then her injuries took her life. McLeod's account to deputies was that Gennia had grabbed a gun from the car's center console during an argument about money and shot herself. Her family had questions almost immediately. Gennia was right-handed. The wound was on the left side of her head. Her cousin would later describe her as someone who was afraid of guns, not someone who reached for one under stress. A story can survive a first telling. It rarely survives a timeline. Investigators say the shooting likely did not happen where McLeod claimed. They believe it happened earlier, back in Macon County, and that the stop near the Pike Road gas station came only after McLeod had already decided what he was going to say. Then came the phone. Detectives recovered several Snapchat videos from McLeod's device, recorded in the minutes before he ever called for help. Not after the fact, before it. Separately, Gennia's cousin Jasmine told reporters that McLeod showed a family member her body over FaceTime after the shooting, and that he called his mother before calling for emergency assistance at all. Deputies would not discuss the specifics of the case while it was active. Assistant Chief Wesley Richardson offered only this line to a public still waiting for answers. Do not mistake the silence for inaction. Behind that silence, a different picture was taking shape. Not a woman who panicked and reached for a weapon, but a timeline that pointed somewhere else entirely.
12 News is targeting crime. Montgomery County Sheriff's deputies have made an arrest following the shooting death of an Alabama State University student. This is Rogers McLeod Jr. He was taken into custody and charged with capital murder. He's being held without bond. McLeod is accused of shooting and killing his girlfriend, Gennia Grimes, in the town of Pike Road. The crime scene was at a convenience store off Highway 80 in the Wall community. Grimes was a 21-year-old criminal justice major at ASU. Investigators say her death appears to be an incident of domestic violence.
We've been thoroughly investigating that case all week, and ever since last Thursday, our investigators have been wide open. Sheriff Cunningham gives us all the technology and support so our investigators can go out and operate efficiently and find out the true facts of this case.
8 days passed between the shooting and the arrest. On April 4, 2025, deputies took Rogers McLeod Jr., 20 years old, into custody and charged him with capital murder. He was booked into the Montgomery County Detention Facility and held without bond. Richardson called it what investigators believed it to be, a domestic violence killing, a young mother shot by the man she shared a child with. The following month, McLeod appeared before Judge Pamela Higgins for a preliminary hearing. That hearing is where the Snapchat detail became public for the first time, along with testimony about where investigators believed the shooting actually occurred. The judge found enough evidence for the case to move forward to a grand jury. McLeod has not been convicted. Capital murder is one of the most serious charges under Alabama law, but a charge is a starting point, not an ending. As of the most recent public record, the case continues to move through the courts, and he remains presumed innocent until a jury says otherwise.
Shooting and killing his girlfriend was in court today. Rogers McLeod Jr. is charged with capital murder in the death of Gennia Grimes.
Grimes was shot earlier this year. Authorities say they found the pair in a car at the WA exit. Today, we heard new details about what investigators believe actually unfolded. WSFA 12 News reporter Rosanna Smith has the details.
Gennia Grimes' family sat in the courtroom as her accused killer faced a judge. Judge Pamela Higgins heard some of the evidence against Rogers McLeod Jr. She found that the evidence is strong enough for this case to head to a grand jury. At the preliminary hearing, we heard from an investigator with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. He testified McLeod and Grimes were traveling from Auburn to Montgomery to get her back for a class at Alabama State University. He says McLeod told authorities that Grimes became inconsolable about financial issues during the drive and grabbed a gun he kept in the middle console of his car and shot herself. But investigators believe McLeod shot his girlfriend in Macon County before pulling into a gas station in Pike Road, right off Interstate 85. The investigator says they found several Snapchat videos on McLeod's phone taken minutes before he dialed 911. One that he did not send to anyone showed Grimes bleeding in the car and no gun in sight. A second video McLeod sent to his mother showed a gun placed on Grimes' shoulder and says, quote, "This girl shot herself." Investigators also say McLeod sent a text to his family saying Grimes shot herself, but investigators did not believe his story. They say this is a case of domestic violence where a young woman was murdered at the hands of her boyfriend. The defense did withdraw a motion for bond. McLeod will remain behind bars. Rosanna Smith, WSFA 12 News.
Grimes was a junior at Alabama State University. She leaves behind a 9-month-old. We reached out to the district attorney's office and McLeod's lawyers. They were unavailable for comment.
We are live here at Antioch Baptist Church North. This is where Grimes' funeral will be held this weekend. The family is still putting the final touches on it and trying to process what happened.
She had big dreams.
Gennia Grimes' loved ones cannot believe she's gone. Shot to death while away at college just over a week ago. Her boyfriend told deputies it was a suicide.
Her son's father, he was the one who said that, she'd done this to herself, and nobody believed him.
In the end, neither did investigators. Rogers B.B. McLeod, the boyfriend, is now accused of murdering the mother of his young child.
I cried because my baby, she didn't deserve that. I mean, this is somebody that she loved. When he came here, my family treated him like he was our family.
The couple met at Alabama State University and had dated for about 2 years. She was a dancer, and he, at the time, played football before leaving school before the 2024 season. Grimes says her daughter was about to break up with McLeod.
A few weeks ago, she found something in his phone, and he got mad, and he broke her iPad, he broke her phone, he tried to break her TV.
Grimes says she just picked up her grandchild, Rogers III, from the suspect's family this weekend, a child who will never see his mother again. It is with that in mind she shares this heartfelt advice.
Anytime something's going on in your relationship that's not right, share it with someone. Don't hold back.
Gennia's family did not get to grieve quietly. They grieved in public, in front of cameras, answering questions about a relationship most families never have to explain to strangers. Her mother, Angela, has said she will raise her grandson herself, a boy who will grow up knowing his mother mostly through video clips, through a dance team's highlight reels, and eventually through a court record that may or may not ever give him the full truth. A fund set up to help the family described her simply: the youngest in the family, days from a graduation she never reached. The case is still open. The record is still being written. What is known right now comes from what investigators pieced together after the fact. A timeline that started with one man's version of events and slowly came apart under its own weight. Somewhere in that gap between what someone claims happened and what a phone quietly recorded, the truth usually finds a way to surface. It just takes someone patient enough to keep looking for it.